What is going on, guys and girls? This is GhostRobo, and the Xbox One is Microsoft's new system, and I have plenty of thoughts on it. Joining me today to discuss those thoughts is Game Riot. How you doing, sir?
Oh, not too bad. Pretty excited about the new consoles coming.
Are you really? Is that an honest, truthful statement? Really excited about the Xbox One?
I think I'm more excited for E3 to be honest, and seeing the new games come out then.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
the reveal was a bit more of like a here's the console, here's their TV console sort of thing. It was just like,
I, ju-
yeah, I don't know.
I just found it a little bit weird if we just jump right into it. Like, at first it seemed like, okay, they're targeting mass market and they're targeting sort of where the things are headed, like the future of everybody's doing all this different stuff. But at the same time, it's kind of backwards if you think about it, because they're targeting people who have cable TV and sit, on their couch and watch stuff. Whereas you'd think, like, if you're trying to compete with Apple and going towards, future of technology and TV, that would be watching television on Hulu and Netflix and those sort of things. So to partner most specifically with cable type services seemed a little bit almost backwards to me.
Yeah, it's like I was watching from a guy that lives in the UK and obviously perhaps watches football or something, soccer, sorry. It's just like I feel like 15 minutes of that whole conference was like nothing to me at all. As in, it was just like NFL, Madden stuff, and it was just like, what is this? I don't really understand what I'm watching here. It's nothing really relevant for what I want to see from the console.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, they said that they're only going to be bringing that TV stuff to North America first, so Europe doesn't even get any of that, which kind of sucks, I guess, if that's what we're into. But yeah, it's definitely. I just thought it was such a weird message that they were trying to convey, because it wasn't super mainstream like the Wii, like, oh, everybody can do this, everybody can play it, everybody can get involved. And that was my initial takeaway, was like, oh, this is a mainstream targeted conference. But if you look back and really kind of analyze it, their target market was who? Like dads that like football and Call of Duty, or like what are they? What specific market are they going after?
I think the main audience was for the more like mass market. It's more for like people who buy 2 games a month, so 2 games a year, like Call of Duty, Madden, and then that's it. And like they might have the TV on as well. I think it's more for those sort of people. And I feel like they sort of pushed away us pure hardcore gamers allowed to play games on it. And perhaps that'll be more for E3. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they'll definitely focus a lot on games at E3, and they did say 15 exclusives, and those are, in fact, 15 first-party exclusives, so that's not even taking into consideration anything that another developer works on,
Yeah.
but which
And
is,
was it 8 new IPs? Wasn't it?
yeah,
Eight new
so I
IPs.
thought that was super exciting. I mean, if you brush away all the kind of annoying stuff that gamers don't really care about, like you were just saying, there still is 15 first-party games, 8 of which are new exclusives, and that shows that, hey, we still are going to make awesome games, and so regardless of all this other fluff, like, it still is going to be an awesome gaming machine, I think.
Despite that quite bad review, I think it was okay. Looking back, I mean, the console looked nice. Well, it didn't look nice. It looked like a massive VHS. But I think the more I look at it, the more I like it. But I'm looking forward to the games. I think the launch titles will be quite good.
Yeah,
I think it might be one of the best launch titles we've ever seen.
I'm coming around on the box. I still think, like, the whole, oh, we're gonna make this big, heavy industrial tech box is sort of goofy. But I am coming around on the controller and the look of the system. I ultimately, that doesn't really matter so much as long as it does what it's supposed to do and doesn't red ring. I don't think that they're gonna run into any of those problems. Hopefully, HDMI stuff looks good, and all their connectors and bits and whatever not is fine. In terms of like the two consoles versus each other, PlayStation 4 versus 720 slash Xbox One now, the PS4 still looks to be a little bit stronger this time around.
Yeah, it's got a slightly better CPU, isn't it? I think 1.6, 8 cores for the Xbox, 2 gigahertz, 8 cores for the PS4.
And it has the
Yeah,
DDR5 instead of DDR3 for the RAM.
I think people are overdoing that a bit too much. I think apparently the DDR3 is more good for like mass operational stuff, so running different programs. And a DDR5 is more for graphics.
Yeah. What I found odd was that even though the PlayStation 4 conference was, now that we're here in almost the end of May, like a good 3.5 months ago, that they showed far more gameplay than Microsoft did whatsoever. Because really, the only true gameplay, no matter what they said, the only true gameplay we saw was snippets within the Call of Duty dev diary.
Yeah, that was purely it, wasn't it? I mean, and then that got released on the PlayStation website straight after that. So it was like,
I just found it weird that they
yeah,
demoed, the new Killzone right on stage. They showed what we presume to be gameplay of Knack. Did you find it incredibly odd that they showed virtually no gameplay when we've already seen next gen footage?
Yeah, we've seen Battlefield, haven't we? And we've seen Killzone, and we saw a bit of Call of Duty, but to me, Battlefield's looking pretty good, and Killzone's looking almost on par graphically and looking quite nice, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought Shadowfall looked really great back at the Sony conference, and then what Battlefield 4 revealed in their huge long demo was pretty cool as well. I just can't understand why. Clearly, they have the tech up and running. Clearly, they're capable of showing next gen games. So why Microsoft didn't debut anything, unless it's true that they are really behind with a bunch of stuff as well, and therefore don't. Because didn't they say Battlefield 4 was operating on a PS4?
At the time, yeah, PS4, wasn't it? Or was it PC? I'm not sure.
I mean,
But yeah,
it's obviously going to be on everything when it releases later this year. But I think that demo was technically when they had that big reveal event was PlayStation 4 footage, which I thought looked really good, and Shadowfall looked awesome as well.
do you think they're going to be on par? Do you think the PC, the Xbox One, which has just been announced for, and the PS4 will be like, on par graphically and stuff? Or
Like equally, I mean, I guess I think some games will very much so, especially games that are. I don't want to say console exclusives because obviously they're not going to be on PC. But I don't know. A company like EA, would they push PC more? Would they give you an ultra option, or is there going to be much more standardization? I don't know. Both systems, the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, are supposedly as powerful as current PC
yeah,
stuff. So
people are still saying the fact that the Xbox One is still easier to sort of develop on, but because it's still like a PC almost.
right,
But the thing with Battlefield 3, for example, and take why I use that as an example is because they spent a lot. The graphics were a lot better, and had modes in there and more vehicles and stuff in the PC version
right.
than they had in the console version. So I'm hoping it's all the same now. It runs at 60 frames a second, and it just runs nice and smooth.
I would venture to say it would be the same, or at least very much closer. And also, there's more incentive to pack more into these new console versions because they're trying to sell systems, and a much bigger push, I would imagine, from big publishers like EA who have partnerships with Sony and Microsoft to push units on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4.
Definitely.
I guess there's this fear in my mind that like maybe games don't look as good as people are hoping, and that's why they're not. You'd think that they tout like, "Oh my God, things are so pretty now," but they aren't doing that. At least I don't know.
Yeah.
Just
I
save
don't
for
know.
an E3
Do
reveal.
you like think like stuff they sort of listed all their tech stuff and they sort of miss bits out stuff like the CPU they were going to use, the graphics card they were actually going to use. Do you think like they were worried that people would compare it to the PS4 and they weren't as strong? Do you think that
Oh,
was
I would venture to say that they were trying to focus on things that make their system the one to buy.
yeah
Speaking of the one, like they're going to do so many dumb marketing things. Even though that name is really sucky, they can do stuff like the Xbox One against the PS4, and it doubles as WON and ONE. But anyways, I think it's probably just either too comparable or a little less, or nothing noteworthy to say. So they don't want to be like, hey, we have a system that is equal. Do you know what I mean? Like they tried to, I think, focus on what do we do above and beyond the competition.
I mean, I like the way they sort of phased the Blu-rays. Went, oh, I said it really quickly. They didn't sort of mention it too much. They're like, yeah, we've got Blu-ray now, and just sort of moved on.
And they did the
Which I
same thing
thought
with
was
sharing as well. Sony made a huge deal about that, and here Microsoft's just like, oh, you can edit videos and moving on to achievements and
yeah,
whatever
just very
else.
quickly, didn't they? I guess that was almost like going to be a sort of a bit more of a main focus until they saw like the PS4 conference and thought, oh, okay, we sort of skip past that and go towards the TV era sort of thing.
Right. I think you're gonna find that both these systems have so many of the same checkboxes
Yeah,
that the defining differentiating features will boil down to the games and maybe this TV thing. I'm sure PlayStation and Sony are going to have partnerships. Like PS3 was the one that had the NFL season ticket, which over here is like the pass to watch all the NFL games. So as much as that like people got like, oh, you can snap back and forth to your TV and your Xbox. I don't really find that very practical, at least for me. When I want to play games, I turn on the Xbox and I play games. I don't really, oh, hang on, let me pause, Halo 5 and go watch TV. That for me, it just
yeah.
has no real impact.
Yeah, I like to be immersed in the game. I don't want to have Skype up in the corner or something. I'm just like literally
Right.
playing Halo 5 or Halo 4 and just enjoying that game,
Yeah.
not thinking about, oh, should I Skype my friend or something? I'm just, yeah,
And like that whole thing of, oh, we can have multiple windows open and blah blah blah. On one hand, they're pushing towards this all device, right? It can do everything. It can do your social media, it can do your games, your TV, your movies, your music. And at the same time, people are more and more diversifying, I feel like, with iPads to cover, this sort of thing that they do. And, maybe Netflix and Hulu on their computer for their TV watching, and their smartphone for YouTube watching and mobile games. And so as people acquire these more and more different devices for different, niches of their life, I don't know that this all one Xbox. Like, how many people just sit in their living room all day? Like, I just feel like, again, I'm still confused on what aspect of the mass market share are they really going after. It just doesn't seem very clear yet.
It feels like they sort of run out of ideas. Like I guess they just had to have like I guess Xbox or Microsoft in general have a console. They don't have anything else out there which is like TV focused or
Right.
entertainment focused, and I think they're just sort of pushing the Xbox as their like pure system that they're gonna do everything on, and it's about your only box in the house. And I think they're all going for that sort of region where Apple's got like the Apple TV and stuff like that. Microsoft doesn't have anything at all, and Xbox is gonna sort of cover this. Hence the Xbox One.
Right, and I mean, you're required to have a cable subscription for a lot of those features, which is also, again, kind of a limiting factor on who can take advantage of the TV that they're going after. But yeah, I definitely think that competing with Apple is something that they're going towards versus just a classic, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo war. But it is just weird and sort of sad for me to see like the focus on game machines go away. I think it's a little bit rash to say, oh God, they don't care about gamers. There still are going to be tons of great games, and that's what we're going to focus on. But it's just from a like overall standpoint, I think that's why everyone was like, ugh, this conference again. It just
I mean, it wasn't for us, was it really? I think it's more for the shareholders and like the people just trying to convince them that this is the new box that everyone should buy. Everyone, not just gamers.
Yeah, I just didn't think there was no. What was the defining feature? I mean, even if you think about the PlayStation 4, there's nothing that's like, holy crap, it does anything new. And I guess that's fine, just a more powerful system. And they started to show off some of the game stuff. What did you think about that? About, all the talk from EA Sports? I mean, to me, it was a bunch of BS because they didn't really say anything or show anything. It was concepts and sizzle reels and buzzwords.
I think they should focus purely on their exclusive stuff. I don't think they should have brought EA in for that to show off their new engine. I mean, we don't need to see that. We'd show that at the EA conference in E3 or something. It just felt like it was all rushed in there. They're just all showing their partnerships, but I don't know. It's a bit pointless to me. I don't really see why we had to see that.
Putting themselves attached with EA and attached with Call of Duty is like a big gain, I guess, from a like viewpoint point of view. Like, oh, we're the system that plays Call of Duty best. We're the system that plays FIFA best. But there wasn't anything exclusive, really. Oh, we get the DLC first. Okay, that's nice, and this happened for the past few years. And oh, we have an exclusive mode, but I don't think that's going to change the course of the ship that has, FIFA being a huge seller on PlayStation 3 or things like that. I just mostly was disappointed that as much as they wanted to say, oh, this is what the next generation of games look like, we didn't see anything. We didn't, there's no, I know that E3 is the focus on games, but it would be nice to, at least even for USA Today and some of these bigger newspapers and NBC or whoever else they're targeting, like, hey, give them something to go off of. Like, here's a demo reel of what you're going to be playing in 6 short months.
Yeah, all we had really was Call of Duty Ghosts, which again is just a Call of Duty with a few little improvements. It didn't feel like anything amazing to look at. I thought when they brought out, was it 343 Industries? Mm-hmm. I thought they were going to like, oh my god, Halo 5 doing a show off and really like just wow us to death and just like, oh my god, this game looks amazing.
There was a lot of moments like that where it was like they bring out 343 and it's like, no, it's just a stupid online TV show where like he's like the Don Matrick was like, the Xbox One releases, and you're like, oh my god, they're gonna give us a date. Like, nope, later this year. There's a bunch of moments like that where it's like, come on, give us something awesome. And maybe there just isn't anything to really do new, and so they're trying to hype up these things like, we have 1080p Skype, which I thought was like the most underwhelming announcement of the entire conference.
That was the Kinect, wasn't it? The little camera.
Yeah,
the 1080p camera. Yay.
I would be perfectly fine with them just pimping out like, hey, we have this super powered box that's going to do awesome games, and here's why the games are going to be awesome. But I guess it's just not where their mind share is focused in terms of driving sales or pushing things. The controller, this is something that me and you, I think, could disagree a little bit on. Give us your thoughts on the new flat Xbox controller.
I don't think it's that flat. You keep saying that. I think it's like a good improvement. The controller looks like it's almost like an upgrade to the last one. I like the analog sticks. The buttons look really cool. I like these sort of impulse triggers, which sound really cool. Basically, like I guess it's going to work as in, say you're firing a shotgun, it's going to be like a little bit more heavy, I guess, to fire. Just stuff like that sounds really awesome.
It has like a little bit of force feedback feel to the triggers, And I hate to be negative about the controller because I do love the 360 controller so much. You know that. Everybody knows that. But I'm a huge fan of the feel of that. The main thing that gets me about this is twofold. One, I think the face of the controller looks really flat, and I don't know if that's just the angle of the pictures, but it looks strangely cheap and flat. And the other thing is that extra piece on top that shows the Xbox guide button. We were talking about this earlier. It almost looks like a two-piece controller.
Yeah, we thought it could come out or something. It's
Like,
like
it
some
looks
sort
like
of
you-
special ability where it just
like-
unveils itself inside.
All right, pull off the shell and put on a new
Yeah.
shell. I mean, don't put it past them to do something like that. I'm sure it's not two pieces, but they did announce. I'm not sure if it was last night or this morning or when, but that no current accessories will work with the new system. That you'll need everything brand new: cables, cords, controllers. Everything will have to be a brand new, which of course is a great moneymaker for them. But
Well, you say that, but they don't have the old battery and charge kit anymore, which was so annoying.
Yeah.
Buying that separately. I think it's all so the battery's actually inside the controller. I'm hoping the cable comes with it. Please, hopefully.
for a charging cable,
Yeah, just hopefully.
that would be extra nice. I use the just like a chargeable battery pack, so I don't even deal with putting in AA's every couple.
Yeah, I've got like a play and charge thing that sort of like put the lead in and stuff, and it all powers it up.
Right, absolutely. In terms of like PlayStation 4, where they sit right now versus Xbox, I mean, I know we don't have a lot of perspective because we haven't played it, we haven't seen really many of the actual launch games. But what are your thoughts on where they sit? Right before E3, before the big blowout of everything.
One thing we didn't mention was the fact that the Xbox thing actually passes over to your new Xbox now, which I think is actually quite cool. So say you got more membership still going on your old Xbox, it also transfer over on both consoles, which is nice. I think Xbox Live generally is still going to be stronger, which I think the Sony has a lot of work to do with that, but improving their online, I think Xbox is still a lot better. But generally, I think with the games for me at the moment, I think the PS4 is slightly above. I mean, Infamous looks really interesting, really cool. From what I hear, it's meant to be a really nice game, and Killzone looks incredible. It looked just graphically, just stunned me when I watched it.
Those two are a great launch duo. If they can put both those out on day one, I mean, that's a pretty killer 1-2 punch to beat. You cover a lot of bases. You cover your huge shooter base. You cover more of your action game base, and they're both really they're the kind of titles that people would want to buy with a console. They look really good. They're kind of gritty, and I think could be big sellers. Microsoft is going to have to come up with something pretty awesome to counter those two. You know that they're not going to launch with Halo or Gears. That Quantum Break game from Remedy looked like it could be nice. I heard that it's a launch title, but we don't know virtually anything about that. Except
even that we spoke about that earlier. It's like there's no gameplay in it.
Right.
It's just
and they do that awkward thing where they mix live action with.
Yeah, I was like,
you're supposed to be showing that your new systems can look lifelike. Why are you making it really obvious that they aren't as lifelike as we want to feel?